Pleasant morning, ladies and gentlemen. We're on standby for the start of the event this morning. But just a few housekeeping matters before we get underway. Individuals who have been assigned seats under the various tents, I ask that at this time you please take your seats as we are awaiting the arrival of the Prime Minister in just a few minutes. In addition, I'm asking two drivers of vehicles to please remove their vehicles. The first is Toyota Tacoma, licensed 1285JU, and a Honda CRV, licensed 4168EM. Both vehicles are directly behind me. I'm asking, please, that the drivers remove those vehicles to facilitate the arrival of the Prime Minister at this time. So drivers of those vehicles, please assist us with a smooth start to our event by removing your vehicles. And ladies and gentlemen, we're on standby, as I said, and we'll begin in a few moments. Ladies and gentlemen, the Prime Minister. And please remain standing for the national anthem. You may be seated. Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, the Honorable Pernell Charles Jr., Minister without Portfolio in the Office of the Prime Minister, well, Minister of Housing, Urban Renewal, Environment and Climate Change, the Member of Parliament for South East St. Catherine, Robert Miller, Mr. Lennox Channer, Chairman of the NHT, Mr. Martin Miller, Managing Director of the NHT, the Reverend Bishop Christine Gooden Bengucci, President of the Jamaica Methodist District, management and staff of the NHT, new lot owners, other distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, a pleasant morning to you all. I'm Dwayne Burbick, Corporate and Public Affairs Manager at the NHT, and it is my pleasure to welcome you to Cool Helshaw for today's handing over ceremony here at Windcrest Hills. Now, my role is to get us through this event as quickly and as safely as possible. So with that said, I must first advise that all protocols regarding COVID-19 have been activated for this brief ceremony, and I encourage our very limited audience to, of course, observe these protocols, especially as it relates to keeping your masks on, sanitize as necessary at our sanitization stations, and to maintain the recommended 6 feet distance. A pleasant morning and welcome as well to our guests tuning in via live stream on the NHT's social media platforms. Now, ladies and gentlemen, Windcrest Hills provides our future homeowners with a great backdrop for ID living. I was having a chat earlier with Chairman and with Robert, and one of the things they pointed out was the splendid scenery that this particular development provides. And with that beautiful natural scenery, I'm sure you will agree that we have a lot to be thankful for, especially at this particular time. And with that in mind, I therefore invite Reverend Bishop Christine Gooden Bengucci to lead us in a moment of prayer and thanksgiving.
As our foundation, just before I pray, to read a particular text from Genesis chapter 2, it says, "The Lord appeared to him and said, 'Do not go down to Egypt. Stay in the land which I shall tell you. Sojourn in this land, and I will be with you and bless you. For to you and your descendants I will give all these lands, and I will establish the oath which I swore to your father Abraham. I will multiply your descendants as the stars of heaven, and will give your descendants all these lands, and by your descendants all the nations of the earth shall be blessed, because Abraham obeyed me and kept my charge, my commandments, my statutes, and my laws. Let us pray. Lord, we invite your presence this day as we give thanks. First of all, for the fulfillment of a dream to own a home, a dream to ensure that our people will become owners of land and houses. We bless your name and dedicate this place that you have given to provide rest, comfort, and shelter for families. Thank you, Heavenly Father, for providing this space that will become for families their dwelling, a place of meeting, of mutual love and care, for reflection and rest, for enjoyment and play. You are the God of provision and the God of wisdom. Thank you for the conception of thought and the wisdom and insight that you have given to the developers and those who were engaged through government and housing to have facilitated this project. Open our eyes to behold your gracious hand in all your works. Lord, grant us the wisdom to exercise the care that will be needed to ensure longevity, that all our actions will do good for future generations. May the occupants of Windcrest be a beacon through their attitude and actions, through community spirit and fellowship, revealing an authentic community, living where each will care for the other as Father, and of the Son, and of the blessed Holy Spirit we pray. Amen.
Thank you very much, Reverend. And indeed, let Windcrest Hills be a development of work and play, of enjoyment and rest. Now, at the NHT, we are serious about increasing Jamaica's stock of affordable housing. In fact, this year, the NHT celebrates its 45th anniversary, a very notable milestone, which has come with it hundreds of thousands of mortgages, hundreds of developments, and a set of Jamaicans whose lives, history, and legacy have truly been transformed for better. Now, a driving force behind our achievement is, of course, our board of directors, and I recognize the members present with us today. Director Grant, and also Director Dixon. And here now is the man currently leading that charge, our board chairman, Mr. Lennox Chana. And Mr. Chana will bring to us this morning the official welcome and offer his brief remarks as well.
Thank you, Dwayne. Good morning. Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Minister of Housing, Urban Renewal, Environment and Climate Change, the Honorable Colonel Charles Jr., Member of Parliament, Southeast St. Catherine, Mr. Robert Miller, councillors, other political representatives, directors of the NHT board, Managing Director of the NHT, Mr. Martin Miller, President of the Jamaica Methodist District, Bishop Christine Gooden Bengucci, new lot owners, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen, again, good morning. And I take this pleasure in welcoming you to the handing over ceremony for the service lots here at Windcrest Hills, St. Catherine. A beautiful development with a great view of the sea. It was just in 2019 that we handed over 22 service lots in this very community. Today, we hand over another 70 lots, which brings our total to 92. Indeed, this is an area that speaks to growth and progress. In 2019, we handed over 113 housing units in the neighboring Fort Hill estate. And before that, we had Sandhills Vista. Together, this investment in housing by the NHT has made the Hellshire community an enviable place to live. As the chairman of the NHT, these handing over ceremonies always present a great sense of pride as they affirm that the trust is not only contributing to a family's need for shelter, but also providing opportunities that will positively impact the lives of an increasing number of Jamaicans. As a Jamaican, I continue to be proud of men who, through sheer determination, hard work, and sacrifice, continue to make strides towards their home ownership goals. Lot owners, it is an absolute privilege to share this moment with you. Congratulations on what promises to be one of many milestones along this journey. With the advent of a new year, these lots represent new beginnings. We often have a tendency to celebrate the finished product. However, I am sure we can all appreciate the value, significance, and importance of a solid start. Those within the housing industry will tell you that regardless of the grandeur of a structure, its most important feature is the foundation. It determines where the building will stand and how it will endure the test of time. These lots are an excellent foundation upon which you will now build your homes and your legacy. It is my hope that the same vision and purpose that guided you to this point will also guide you during the next phase as we partner with you on your transition from lot owners to homeowners. Home ownership is a journey, and the NHT remains committed to seeing you through every step of the way. We want you to have a seamless transition. That is why we have assigned each of you undertaking construction with the NHT a project officer that will assist you with this leg of the journey. It would be remiss of me not to acknowledge the challenges that we have faced within the past several months. This new normal continues to reshape our daily lives. While many things may have shifted, our commitment to providing housing and land ownership solutions remains unchanged and is solidified by events such as this. At the NHT, we are uniquely positioned to understand the importance and demand for shelter, as well as the constraints that impact access for many Jamaicans. It is for this reason that we continue to revise our policies and programs to further enhance our financing arrangements. Our interest rates at 0% to 4% continue to be the lowest on the market. Public sector workers continue to enjoy a 1% reduction in their applicable interest rate, and contributors who have a disability or have a child with a disability benefit from a 2% interest rate reduction. These attractive financing arrangements are complemented by the NHT's drive to increase the supply of housing. In our 4-year housing program ended March 2021, the NHT set out to achieve at minimum 23,000 housing starts. Now in the final phase of the program, we remain on target as the NHT recorded just under 19,000 housing starts at the end of the 2019-2020 fiscal year. For the parish of St. Catherine, we have another upcoming 4,094 housing solutions scheduled over the next 3 years. By prioritizing construction of units, the Trust has steadily increased the population of total assets invested in housing from 84% in 2016 to 91%. More than just providing shelter, we recognize the importance of facilitating the establishment of sustainable, safe, and functional communities. This is why we outfit schemes with certain physical infrastructure and lands for social and recreational amenities. This removes the burden from you, the community. This project, and indeed all the work the NHT does, would not have been possible without key partnerships. Therefore, I would like to thank the project teams, contractors, and stakeholders who contributed to this development. Windcrest Hills already has the makings of a great community. I see the development of great things and a place you will proudly call home, with a beautiful landscape as your backdrop. I therefore encourage you to utilize this investment wisely to the benefit of yourself, your family, your community, and your nation. Rely on the expertise of other citizens' associations in neighboring communities to guide the development of your own associations. And of course, your social development team is always ready to assist you. Congratulations again on the seeds you have planted here today. I look forward to seeing how it will bear fruit. Ladies and gentlemen, new mortgages, thank you, and please enjoy the rest of the day's proceedings. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Chairman. Thanks for your warm welcome and also for your update on the NHT's work. And it is really indeed satisfying to know that the NHT is not just increasing the stock of housing in Jamaica, but putting in place attractive financial arrangements to facilitate the acquisition of homes. Now, a gentleman who is also very invested in the business of land and housing and home ownership, I gave him a different title earlier, but he is indeed the Minister for Housing, Urban Renewal and Climate Change, the Honorable Pernell Charles Jr. I'll invite him at this time to bring some brief remarks.
Thank you, Master of Ceremonies, and I do note the intonation on brief. Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness, Chairman, board members, Managing Director, Member of Parliament, all of the new title owners, friends from the media, everyone, good morning. I just want to quickly use the opportunity to remind us that since 2016, what we've seen in Jamaica is a very deliberate approach to boosting our economic growth and development. And it is because of those decisions why, in what can only be defined as the most challenging time since independence, we've been able to carry the country through. Prime Minister, permit me to, on behalf of the country, just say to you, thank you for your leadership, your sacrifice, and your commitment to ensuring that your decisions are very clear and cogent. And you have, been up close, have had the opportunity to see the level of work that is put in. Nothing is happening by coincidence. And so the commitment to ensuring that all Jamaicans have safe, legal, and affordable housing, the commitment to advancing the goals of NHT and HAJ are specific commitments that we need to ensure we develop the Jamaica that is sustainable and resilient. The Ministry of Housing, Urban Renewal, Environment and Climate Change will be focusing on ensuring that our housing policy is comprehensive and leaves no one behind. So we will be pushing the amendments to the Rent Restriction Act for those who can't buy to have access to rental. We will be pushing to ensure that we complete our survey of informal settlements, as the Prime Minister has mandated, to make sure that we focus on even those who don't have access through NHT benefits. It is a comprehensive move for all Jamaicans to have safe, affordable, and legal housing. To the title owners, I congratulate you. To the NHT, we are committed, and we will continue to do everything to achieve the outcome of a sustainable and resilient country. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Minister. Now, Windcrest Hills falls within the constituency of Southern St. Catherine, and a former NHT chairman once shared with us that years ago the vision had been that Hellshore would be the grand Riviera of Jamaica, set against the soft glow of the Caribbean Sea with boats lining its beautiful coastline. Who knows? That vision may become reality. But at this time, please join me in welcoming to the lectern another visionary, the man who very early in his first term gave us at the NHT the charge to build house. And now in his second term, his charge is, you guessed it, build more house. Well, Prime Minister, we're not exactly building any houses here today, but what we are doing is providing a very necessary step towards a homeowner's dream. and that is the ownership of land. Equally important. Ladies and gentlemen, please help me welcome our Portfolio Minister and Prime Minister, the Most Honorable Andrew Holness.
Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, everyone. Oh, sorry. Oh, I had the mask on, so you couldn't hear me properly. This morning, I received two conflicting calls, which I will just give you an insight into both before I begin my presentation. And that is a precursor to an apology for being a few minutes after the projected start time of this event. One call was, Prime Minister, how other countries get vaccine and we don't get any vaccine yet. And I proceeded to explain that we have vaccines on the way. And then another call was, Prime Minister, make sure you know what you're doing with this vaccine business, you know. Because there is obviously the fear of vaccines, the ambivalence with vaccines. government to administer, to make. And it is not easy, but I give you my assurance, decision seriously. And the way in which we have done it, it's not going to be a long term. We have done it for 2 weeks, and we are watching the numbers. You play a very important role in how those numbers go down. On my way here, driving through Halfway Tree, I deliberately looked out to observe whether or not persons were wearing masks. And just for the record, I came in here with my mask, I came up here with the mask, and I only took off the mask because I'm speaking. But I noticed that whilst persons had on masks, most of whom I saw were wearing masks, they had the mask under their chin. Some were only covering their nose. The appropriate way is that you have to have a proper face covering that covers your nose and mouth and properly fitted to your face. I'm encouraging all Jamaicans, wear your mask. I took some time as well to observe how persons were gathered. And we have given a new limit for the gathering rule, and that is 10. That one, I think, needs some explanation. The objective of the gathering rule is that when people gather together in groups for conversation and interaction, as we Jamaicans love to do, the first rule is that you must be wearing your mask. The second rule is that you should be 6 feet apart. At 6 feet apart, you can be conversational. I can speak and you can speak and I can hear you, but the risk of transmission is reduced because you are at a distance. You should continue to sanitize your hands as much as possible. To be conversational and interactive in a group, keep that group to 10. Because what that does, if there is someone in the group which is conversational and interactive, and that one person is infected, the risk of infecting is limited only to 10. If the group gathered is 20, then the risk of infecting is increased. And that is why we have reduced the gathering rules now to 10. Don't expect a policeman to come and police that. That is guidance to you for your own benefit. So if you go somewhere, for example, you go to the bus stop and you see 20 persons there, then you now should just smartly take away yourself from that group. Why are we doing this? Because as the infection rate increases, the positivity rate, it means that in any group of persons gathered, the probability of someone in there being infected is higher. And therefore, to reduce the spread, we are giving you instructions, guidance under the Disaster Risk Management Act for your own benefit, how you behave to reduce the risk and the spread. So again, it has nothing to do with housing, but since we are gathered, and I have to commend the NHT, the NHT experienced a severe shortage of housing. The supply of new housing has not been able to keep pace with the demand. Upon the problem, there is a mismatch between new housing solutions and what our potential homeowners can afford. Housing, therefore, remains a key priority of the government of Jamaica. The National Housing Trust, the NHT, has recorded impressive levels of housing starts and housing completions delivered to markets. It has also improved several communities occupied by contributors while strengthening its approach to addressing the needs of low-income earners. If you compare the NHT's expenditure in the 4 fiscal years preceding the pandemic, that is from 2016 to 2020, the NHT spent approximately 130 billion Jamaican dollars on the provision of housing. This was 59% higher than the 82 billion that was spent in the previous 4 fiscal years to that. That would be from 2013 to 2016. So you can see that the NHT, through the direction of government policy, we are not only talking about providing houses, we are spending far greater resources on the provision of housing solutions. In 2019-2020, the NHT's expenditure of $40 billion in that year was the highest expenditure it has ever had in its 43-year history in the provision of housing. So you can see, beneficiaries and Jamaicans listening, that the government is serious about providing housing solutions. And I want to digress briefly here while I have your attention. I was not given any instruction by the master of ceremony to be brief. But I'm a considerate person, but I want to make this point to you. In the long struggle for freedom, from the start of Jamaica as we know it, over 500 years ago, we as a people have always struggled to express that freedom in ownership. Because how we got here through enslavement, we didn't own anything. We couldn't take anything from Africa here with us. The ultimate of ownership for most Jamaicans is a piece of land. The ultimate thing. And we have coined it in a particular way. We want to own a piece of the rock. When you go overseas and you get into the diaspora community, it is their dream. Even if they're not coming back to Jamaica to live, they want to own a piece of the rock. And that overriding desire for ownership is not a bad thing. Indeed, it is the right thing. And governments must support this ambitious drive of Jamaicans to own Jamaica. But ownership cannot happen in chaos. And when we had a different state, which was not our state, and we were trying to establish ourselves as a state, then you could go and say, I am claiming this land. I am staking my claim there in correction of all the injustices of the past. But when this is now our country, this is now our state, our laws, our Jamaica, you can't stake claim to ownership in chaos. You need an orderly system to protect, establish, and secure your ownership. And this government is not going to come and make you a promise that we're going to give you land. This government that I currently lead cannot continue this destructive history that we have had of tacitly allowing people to settle land improperly. Because all that we have done by doing that is to enshrine disorder in the society. And those who have settled improperly, we have done them a disservice. We have actually lied to them because tacitly they were promised that infrastructure would come, roads would come, electricity would come, garbage collection would come, schools would come. And 50 years or more have gone, and none of those have come. They may own the rock, but they have no value. They can't sell it. They can't legitimately pass it on to their children. They can't borrow against it to do other things. So this kind of mentality of illegally and improperly settling land must end in Jamaica. However, the social equity and justice questions still stand. It is not enough for the government to say it must end. In the same breath, the government must say, we must provide you with the means by which you can own a piece of the rock legitimately. And so what this government is doing is expanding the process, the system of home ownership, of land ownership. And we are doing it in many ways. We are doing it in titling by going through and regularizing persons who have occupied lands but have no titles. We are doing it through the Housing Agency of Jamaica, regularizing communities that were informally settled. We are doing it again by the Housing Agency in bringing to market affordable and low-income housing solutions. And we are doing it by the NHT in providing support for the financial system for home ownership, because believe me, the support that the NHT gives in mortgages, that has had an impact in driving down mortgage rates as well and making home ownership affordable. And the support that the NHT gives in developments like these by making resources available to developers. This is why you can see all these developments happening. So I want you to understand the government's commitment. We are not fighting you for getting your land. We want you to get the house. We want you to get the piece of land, but we want it to be done legally and properly. And we are going to provide the means, which is why we have increased our expenditure year on year, every year, to bring more housing solutions to market. So that when you now turn big man, you're 18 living with your mother, and your mother says, look, you're a big man now, you have to go out and find your room. And you look around, you don't see no room. And it's you and your girlfriend and your picnic. And you say, boy, I see a piece of land over there, just go and put up something. Instead of doing that, we have to make the system such that you can say, you know what, let me not do that. Because there would be affordable housing solutions for rent, affordable housing solution to save and make the down payment and pay the mortgage. There's a secondary housing market there where I can go and find a housing solution that's suitable for me. We made a commitment in the last election that we are going to build 70,000 houses. Let me be frank with you. You see, the staff from the NHT, they are laughing, but behind their glasses, they are crying because it is a tall order. They know 70,000 houses is not an easy target to meet. But we are not setting our hats where we can reach it. We are going to stretch, we are going to tip, we are going to extend ourselves because the situation with housing is important. You talk about crime, you talk about socialization, all of the other issues that you're facing in the society, a root of all those problems traces back to our housing and land settlement situation. So we are trying to correct some of those problems by dealing with this fundamental issue. The 70,000 housing solutions will not be easy to achieve, but we are going to go as close as possible as we can. 2 weeks ago, I called up several of our major contractors, major housing developers, and we have started the conversation. The role of the government in this is to identify the lands and make them available at reasonable cost, to dedicate resources for the development of common infrastructure as much as possible, and to deal with the impediments in the permitting and regulatory environment to reduce those costs, to ensure that the housing solution that comes to the market is timely and affordable. So the work has started, and you will hear more when we go to budget regarding how we are going to seek to achieve those 70,000 new housing solutions in the next 5 years. Already, we have stretched the NHT, and when we started, they may not have thought it was possible because they were doing something like 2,000 or 3,000 houses per year, if that many. Now they are doing more than 5,000 to 6,000 houses per year. So they have doubled their output. Now we are looking at doubling that output per year or more. And I know they can do it. We have the creativity within us, and we have the drive and the belief within us. If we are able to put 70,000 new housing solutions that are affordable on the market, we would have made a significant dent in the squatting problem, but we would have also made a significant dent in creating communities that would give you the basis of seeing the emergence of a strong middle class in the country. And I drop that term in because I know people are going to jump on it. There is a conversation to be had. We need to create a growing, flourishing middle class in the country. Over the last 4 decades, we have seen the decimation of that, and that has resulted in all kinds of other social problems. There is nothing wrong with putting the ambition in the minds of our people that we must seek to progress from generation to generation. Unfortunately, the thought has entered in our minds where we have a kind of class warfare, where we reject the progress. Every Jamaican I know, bar none, want to own a house, drive a big car, and live good. That is what you call middle class values. And this government is committed to providing the mechanisms, the solutions, the pathway for every single Jamaican, whether you're born poor or rich, to fulfill your dreams. And housing is a part of it. So that's the lecture. Just a point of note. Within St. Catherine, during the current financial year, we have projects coming on stream at Colbeck Castle, Twickenham Park, Silver Sun, Bernard Lodge, which we call Catherine Estates, that's the new term for it, and Rosneath Park. The NHT has delivered or contributed to approximately 37,000 solutions in St. Catherine through collaboration with joint venture partners or through the interim financing program and schemes developed by the NHT. The NHT's current housing plan for St. Catherine includes 5 additional schemes to complement previous housing developments. These 5 developments will bring to market a further 4,094 housing solutions by 2023. So persons who are still looking for your houses in St. Catherine, keep faith. I noticed that the NHT made a Twitter post the other day. And under that post, were some very stinging commentary. One of which was that the NHT is not catering for young people because none of the houses they can afford. I'm very sympathetic. And I wish to say that of the 70, we have committed that 10,000 of them will be for persons under 30. So young people, I know the frustration. We are going to make some special provisions. Already, I must confess that at the housing handing overs that I have seen as young as 22 and 24-year-olds being successful. But again, that's just a small number of those who would wish to be able to be qualified for housing. So I want to assure you that we are working on it, and there are 4,094 solutions. These are not solutions that are all on the drafting board. These are solutions, many of them that have started already, they are on the ground and will be delivered. So there is a very high level of guarantee that these houses, these 4,094 houses will come to market. In brief, as I drove through the town center and other areas of Portmore to come here, I reflected on the fact that this government placed it as an agenda item to convert the municipality of Portmore into a parish. And the more from Portmore, and as I move through the area, I come to Portmore quite a bit for various things. And I'm noticing so many developments are happening that Portmore has moved from being just a dormitory community. That means people just live here but work in Kingston. Portmore is developing and that economy is a thriving economy. The idea, therefore, is to create Portmore as its own economic base, its own civic and social base, and that will in turn give greater energy for investment and opportunities within the area. So, you know, Portmore has 200 to 250,000 persons. That is probably the size of Barbados or St. Lucia. This area has its own energy. And what we're trying to do for Portmore is into the new economy. We see Portmore as having great opportunities for business process outsourcing, knowledge processing, for logistics of developments. So, and indeed construction. So we are confident that we are doing the right thing in directing Portmore towards becoming the 15th parish of Jamaica. Ladies and gentlemen, homeowners, or rather lot owners, well, I'll say homeowners because within the next 3 or 4 months when I drive past here, I'll be looking at some magnificent structures. I tell you something, you know, I would live here. This is beautiful when you see the vista that you have looking at the sea and feeling that cool breeze. This is a beautiful part of Jamaica. When you build your house, remember you're also building your community. Keep it safe, keep it clean, keep it secure and healthy. God bless you.
Thank you very much, Prime Minister Holness, for a wide-ranging presentation on rather very pertinent matters and quite a bit to take away. The $130 billion investment in housing by the NHT over the last 4 years. And of course, I know many Jamaicans are looking forward to those 70,000 houses, especially our young persons. Thanks again, Prime Minister. Now it's now time for the part of the event our new landowners have all been waiting for. At this time, we will be having the handing over of letters of possession to your own property right here on the Riviera, and you will raise children here, see your homes appreciating value here, grow old here. And I know for certain you will always remember this day as one of the proudest in your lives. Now, ladies and gentlemen, our ushers will guide our beneficiaries into the main area, and they will enter center stage, collect a canister with their letters of possession, give an elbow bump or an appropriate greeting to the persons making the presentation. Upon hearing your names, we ask that the proud new homeowners come forward to collect their letters of possession. And I will invite back on stage our Prime Minister to lead the handing over. And the Prime Minister will be assisted by our branch manager for St. Catherine, Mrs. Janet Hartley-Millwood. So if you're not a homeowner, you need to know this lady, Mrs. Hartley-Millwood. She and her team will, of course, guide you. And we begin the handing over with Troy Smith. And as our Prime Minister leads by example in terms of the proper greeting and proper social distancing, a round of applause for Troy Smith. And keep that applause going as we make welcome as well Sandra Neal. And Sandra Neal makes way for Leonie Salmon. Thank you, Leonie, and we also make welcome Concy Roberts. Please make welcome as well Trisha Heron. And as Trisha comes forward, I'd like to point out that our lot owners here at Windcrest Hills, in addition to receiving their letters of possession today, they will also be receiving fruit trees to begin this whole process of beautifying and establishing themselves here on the Grand Riviera. Charles Borland, we have a letter of possession for you too, sir. Please make yourself available to collect. And these fruit trees, I'd like to continue, are being made available jointly through the Minister of Housing. He's made some available as well, and also through the NHT. So Christopher Williams, please make yourself welcome. So our new lot owners, before you leave here today, you will collect your fruit trees as well as your letters of possession so you can begin settling here at Windcrest Hills. Please make welcome Lorna Graham Sterling. Dehasa Anderson. Mark Hitchner. Well, This doesn't look like a mark. I'm assuming it is Renee Hitchner who is collecting. They are co-applicants here at Windcrest Hills. Prince Easton. Jean Duhaney, please make yourself welcome. Tanisha Garvey. Serene Cargill. She come with her own applause and her own excitement. You go, Serene. Proud day for you here. And we close off these set of presentations with Pauline Thomas. Thank you, Pauline, and thank you very much, Prime Minister. And I'll invite now Minister of Housing, Pernell Charles Jr., to assist with handing over the next batch of letters of possession. And we thank you, Minister, for your donation of the fruit trees to our residents here at Windcrest Hills, courtesy of the Forestry Department. Thank you very much. And we lead this section off with Annette Watson. Donovan Johnson. Now this does not look like a Donovan, so I'm going to say this is Stacey and Johnson McIntosh. Another of our lot owners who have co-applied for their space here at Windcrest Hills. And please keep that applause going for Sheldon Samuels. Tamara Henry. Kavan Muthra. Derek Hall. Horace Robinson. Collecting for Mr. Robinson this afternoon, though, is Tanisha Watson. Amorel Bryan. Waynette Campbell. Patrick Dunkley. And we close off this batch of beneficiaries with Simone Harrison. Thank you, Minister Charles. Now invite NHT Chairman, Mr. Lennox Chana, to assist with our next set of presentations. And we begin this batch with Kathleen Smith Evans. Sean Carby. Ruben Gunter. Diana Mitchell Cross. Amaya O'Brien. Corey Brown. Vivek. Giftel Jemison. Please make your way as well, Jennifer Clark, to round off this batch of beneficiaries, the new lot owners here at Windcrest Hills. Thank you very much, Chairman. And I now invite our Managing Director, Mr. Martin Miller, to do our final set of presentations. And we invite Yvette Thomas Sleem to lead off this batch of beneficiaries. Rai Hu Kim. Natalie Murphy. David Gabor. Charlene Witter. Charmaine Stewart. Sherwin Edwards. another name here, Angela Pratt, but I'm not seeing her lining up. So with that, thank you, Mr. Miller. And that, ladies and gentlemen, those rather are our new lot owners here at Windcrest Hills. Give them a round of applause, please. And please keep that round of applause going as well for the St. Catherine branch, led by our branch manager, Mrs. Hartley Millwood, who would have handled the processing and hear all and would have gone through all the different ways to assist our lot owners in making it here today. And I see Dr. Oakley Williams, Senior General Manager, in the wings as well. Congrats to you and your team, Doc, who from time to time process these applications for scheme units at scheme solutions at the NHT. And now we couldn't go this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, without allowing our beneficiaries an opportunity to express the joy that we would have witnessed this year in this moment. And just to remind you as well, as a special gift, we handed over some fruit trees to our new lot owners. 2 sets of fruit trees courtesy of the forestry department, and also another set. So them doubly blessed here at Windcrest Hills already. Another set they will receive as well from the NHT. So to give that vote of thanks on behalf of the beneficiaries, I would like to invite at this time Mr. Troy Smith, one of the new owners here at Windcrest Hills, to say a word of thanks.
Greetings, everyone. A bit nervous. Masters of Ceremonies, the Most Honorable Prime Minister Andrew Holness, Honorable Pernell Charles Jr., Minister of Housing, Urban Renewal, and Climate Change. In the absence of Mr. Fitzjackson, I greet you as well. His Worship the Mayor, Councillor Leon Thomas. In his absence, I also send greetings to him as well. I also greet Mr. Lennox Channa, Chairman of the National Housing Trust, board members of the National Housing Trust, Mr. Martin Miller, Managing Director of the National Housing Trust, distinguished guests, staff of the National Housing Trust, especially the St. Catherine Branch office, my new neighbors and friends, and all greetings. It gives me great honor today to give the vote of thanks from my family and all those that are here that are benefiting from this wonderful opportunity of owning our piece of Jamaica through the National Housing Trust. My wife and I have for many years dreamt of owning our own home, our own piece of Jamaica. And I can tell you, trying to get a property via the open market, that was extremely daunting. I mean, the fees associated with that alone send you right back home where you're coming from. You know, and I'm really grateful for the NHT. Okay. I doubled up. So, you know, from the NHT, I'm really, really grateful to finally get to own a piece of Jamaica where I can, just in case I fly out, I can look down and say, at least I own something here in Jamaica coming back to. You know, my wife and I have dreamt of this for years, to have something to pass down to our child. And, you know, many of you here can imagine the feeling of trying to get something in the open market with a skyrocket prices. And I mean, NHT really made the difference in that. When I just applied, when Windcrest Hill just came on the market and we applied, I mean, I didn't even believe that I was going to be one of the beneficiaries, you know, in realizing my dream of home ownership. At least that's what I thought. And, you know, through the partnership of the Jamaica Council for Persons with Disability and the NHT, vulnerable persons like myself can also realize the dream of owning a home. I applied for the service lot here at Windcrest Hills, and here we are today. I was so excited and anxiously awaited a response from the NHT. I was quite shocked and elated, of course, when I received an email from NHT stating that I had the officers, Natasha Williams, Giovanni Higgins, Miss Kishana Douglas, Miss Brittany Bennett at the NHT at Twickenham branch gave superb service. Every department works hand in hand that complements each other, from the compliance department to the scheme unit department to the organizers of today's ceremony, just to mention a few. They were caring, respectful, knowledgeable, and willing to answer my numerous questions. And believe me, I had a lot of questions and they were answered. They assured me that they would be with us every step of the way to also help us build our dream home on this new land that we now have acquired. Given that we have 3 years to build on it. To have been given this opportunity today, for all of us here, we are most grateful. To this wonderful breeze that we're now feeling, yes, that's coming from our backyard, you know? So I want all of us here to look in trying to have this, the construction starting within the next 3 years. I mean, I can't wait to start. I wouldn't mind starting next week. You know, I can't wait to enjoy this bliss. So I want to encourage us to, you know, get the ball rolling. We have NHT on our side to assist right along the way in everything. We have project managers and all that good stuff from what we've been advised via the Zoom sessions last week, of course. And, you know, looking at everybody today, I mean, I can't see everybody's faces because of the mask, but, you know, looking at the brightness of everybody's eyes and the joy, I am grateful to be among this great group of people. You know, of course, I memorized most of my speech, so I can say it without a doubt. And this is actually coming from my heart. I'm really great to share my backyard of the Caribbean Sea and this wonderful breeze that we're allowing our Honorable Prime Minister and Mr. Pernell Charles Jr. to share with us today. You know, it's not permanent, so can take in a little and go on. You know, as the Jamaican saying goes, blessed is a child that has his own. And today I can assure you, we'll have our own. Thank you so very much, everyone. And I want to specifically say thanks to all the team at the St. Catherine branch. I am extremely grateful for everything that they have done and all the members that are working today. You know, there are many that would want to be here but are still on the job, working, helping my other countrymen to afford and make home ownership a reality. Thank you, everyone, and God bless you. Have a great day.
Thank you very much, Troy. And ladies and gentlemen, that brings us to the end of this handing over ceremony. And I love the spirit that Troy brings. Everything at Windcrest Hills is his. The view, the breeze, everything. And so, once again, congratulations, new lot owners, and all the very best on the next leg of your home ownership journey. A big thank you to all the individuals who made today's event a safe one and made it possible, or edge marketing team who executed for us, our PRS for the sound, our live stream team, the NHT teams that came together to make this possible. A big thank you. It's been my pleasure guiding you this morning into afternoon. Please remain seated for a little bit. We have a small token we want to give you to leave with, but do enjoy the rest of your day, and of course, stay safe. Thank you.
Congratulations. You are now the proud owner of an NHT serviced lot. This means that you are one step farther along your home ownership journey. Some of you will begin to build right away, but others may take a little while to start. Whatever the time, it is good to have a vision for the place where you will ultimately live. So how do you go about preparing for that dream community when right now all you have is an open space? Here are a few suggestions. Get to know your fellow lot owners and form a community management group. That way, even when physically absent, you can make your voice heard and ensure that your community develops in a way that protects the value of your property. If you don't see yourself building for a little while, make sure that your lot is bushed and cleaned periodically to avoid illegal dumping, informal settlement, or just an unsightly look. As you prepare to build, make sure to get the necessary approvals and abide by the covenants. The NHT Homeowners Manual will give you some general guidelines on how to proceed. Protect the infrastructure in your scheme. Do not place construction material or mix concrete in the roadway, as this can lead to blocked drains. Pay your property taxes so that the municipal authorities can provide the necessary services for comfortable living. Your property is a valuable investment that will bring you numerous benefits. Make sure to pay your NHT mortgage on time. Your first payment is due by the first day of the second month after you receive your letter of possession. This means that you get 1 month payment holiday. We make mortgage payments easy. If you're employed, pay by salary deduction. That way you don't have to worry about missed payments. Otherwise, you may use online payment options such as NHT Online or the NHT mobile app. Let's create communities of which we can all be proud. Do it for yourself. Do it for your family. It will be your house, your home, your life.
Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, and have a great afternoon.